Hello, everybody, and I hope you guys are having an incredible day. Happy Father's Day, a very, very special Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there that are celebrating today. Today is day 14 of our 30-day meditation challenge. And today we're going to talk about emotional vampires and victims. This is a very essential conversation about understanding what it means to own your space and what it means to become a vampire or a parasite, in other words. So we're going to dive really deep into this topic. There's many sections to it that I want to focus on. Good morning, Tesseract. Good morning, Jimax. So good to see you. Or good evening for you. Truth Seeker, it's so great to connect with you guys. So let's begin, because this is a pretty heavy topic, and I want to get into this topic about the different sections of it. So when we talk about, I did a video on becoming emotionally drained, and that was really important to look at how our multidimensional body becomes drained when we are encountering emotional vampires, but also from the other side, our awareness of our multidimensionality, how we're using our energy. So what does it mean to be an emotional vampire and a victim? Both of these roles play an essential role in this exchange, but what I will want you to understand is that they are the same frequency. Victims and emotional vampires are kind of playing the same role. And I know that might sound contradictory, but I will explain how and why in this lecture. So I have a bunch of notes here. Emotional parasites. What are emotional parasites? Essentially, what we're talking about is emotional manipulation. Anytime that we manipulate someone to feel something or feel a certain way, or manipulate our choices, the way that we behave, our actions, the way that we feel even, in order to receive something, is a manipulation, an emotional manipulation. And it's not just emotions, because emotion is energy. It is directed energy. This directed energy becomes a source. It's a life energy. It's a life source. And when we create, because we are in the third dimensional plane, the art of living in the three-dimensional plane is creation. We are creating. We are either constantly creating something. Either we're creating something that lives and exists and expands, or we are counter-creating something that does the opposite. So it's very important to understand how this functions, this exchange with our environment. Our environment is made up of people, places, and things, and we can manipulate energy in many different ways in order to manipulate the way we feel and in order to receive from our environment. So that being said, emotions that we are feeling in the physical body, we talked about this in day one, I think. What are emotions? Energy in motion. It's directed energy that has intention. And the intention will create the vibrational frequency, and the frequency is actually the input that creates an output in the matrix hologram. So as soon as we create an intention, even if our emotion is love, seemingly love, or joy, if we understand the root emotion of that, which would be the intention, this will define the frequency of the emotion that we're feeling. So being able to identify emotional vampires can sometimes be a little bit tricky, because sometimes we see a smile on the face, but at the end of that experience with a person, we end up completely drained. We end up drained, we end up exhausted, and sometimes these relationships can become codependent and, again, parasitic. Now, why does this happen? Because even though the person might have a smile on their face, the quality and the intention behind that expression is actually what's interacting with you. It's interacting with your energetic field, and it's also a subconscious manipulation to the way that you are interacting. All of these kinds of manipulation tactics only work when you're unaware of yourself. And this energy in motion creates a cord, an energetic cord, that if you are unaware, it will, by resonance, unite you to this person in order to experience this exchange. So again, I mentioned before that we never go into situations without being absolutely in resonance with them. This is the way that we unite in order to co-create and in order to co-experience things. So nothing in this universe is occurring just like that, without purpose, without a certain reason. The mechanics of uniting with something is always through these laws of energetic exchange and resonance. So if your vibrational frequency is that of a victim, for example, that's your subconscious system, you will always attract people and relationships that will balance this victimization or lack of energy in order to fulfill and balance that. Because in order for any kind of organism to exist, there has to be the opposite dualistic energy in order to balance it out. So oftentimes, those that see themselves as victims or have mentalities of, or that they are incomplete, will find this perceived completion dynamic. Now, usually they are uniting by resonance with another person that's exactly as incomplete as this other person. Okay, so together they are throwing and mirroring back at each other this same subconscious belief system, the same emotions, the root emotions of the two people that have united, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a friendship, relationship, even coworkers, in any kind of environment, is going to be that subconscious root emotion, the root belief systems that are actually inputting into the system this intention for creation, whatever that might be. And that, of course, is a product of layers of conditioning, programming, and again, repetitive cyclical patterns that are coming down from their ancestral lineage. So anytime, what does it mean to manipulate emotionally? So because these two entities or organisms reject their own selves, they are coming from a place of self-abandonment, they're coming from a place of fear, of lack, of insecurities, self-doubt, all of these ranges of emotions that are adopted as these programs in order to feel lack, then in order to fulfill that need, the very profound belief system of a parasite or an emotional vampire is that they are incapable of fulfilling their own emotional need. They don't have the tools, they don't know how, they've never experienced it, they've never learned it from their environment. So therefore, the constant subconscious intention is to be able to receive that from something external, okay, from something external. So the majority of their intentions, their choices in life, the behaviors that they display, everything from career choices to emotional partners, to the way that they dress, to the way that they look, the persona, the personalities, are in order to somehow create and fulfill these internal voids. So they manipulate scenarios and emotions by creating events that will emote certain emotions that fulfill these aspects of themselves. Now let's talk about the etheric. We talked about the psychological, emotional side. On the energetic side, you are looking at a person that has a lot of rips and tears in their energetic space, because this is not an integrated energy. This is energy that is in an inverted spiral. An inverted spiral then becomes contractive, and it functions like hole, essentially. So when we are around emotional vampire people that have this consistent feeling of not enough, we feel completely drained, because the exchange will always be in order to continuously receive, and there usually will not be this even exchange because they don't have the tools to do that. So not only is their energetic field tore and open without any ability to maintain and hold their energetic space, but also from the etheric side, these are people that usually have a lot of entities and attachments. And entities and attachments, again, these are thought forms, and these thought forms feed, just like the parasites in the biome, off these very, very heavy emotions. And not just the emotion of the host, but the emotion of another. So essentially, it becomes this perpetual loop of having to receive from another, and then finding experiences, creating experiences from which can be fed this very, very empty feeling of lack, and it's like a black hole. It's a counter creative, contractive life force. And so, how can we work with that? Before I go there, let me talk about the kind of emotional manipulations that usually come about this. It can be anything from somebody that provokes in others fear by the things that they say, the things that they do, lust, anger, confusion, doubt, really, really important. They point out flaws in the other person in order to create insecurities. And so these are some of the main emotions. So if you encounter a person that's consistently manipulating you in some way, by the way that they're dressing, speaking, energetically displaying themselves, a lot of these interactions are subconscious manipulations in order to receive something. And so the interesting thing about this is that a lot of us in our everyday culture, we don't realize how much subliminal programming we receive from the external realm. When you watch a film, when you're looking at social media, when you're looking at the entertainment industry, even when at social issues collectively, they are encoded with very specific subliminal and very overt messages that create they can maintain the human race in these consistent states of emotions, such as fear or lust or helplessness or any of these ranges of emotions. This is emotional manipulation. And usually are unaware, of these kinds of manipulations. So a lot of our day is spent feeling these emotions when we are unconscious. And because we are in a hypnosis, a lot of times the not being aware of what is triggering these emotions in you, you end up tired, you end up fearful, you make choices that are not in alignment with your highest self. And the highest self is the embodiment of that wholeness, of the integrated whole that knows how to provide for themselves. So this is kind of the difference. And where we begin to compare emotional victims is that they both embody the same programming. And I will show you that in just a minute. So another thing that I want to talk about, so the other side of that is the emotional vampire plays a lot of very specific roles in their interactions with you. So for example, they can play like forever victim. They're victims about everything that occurs to them. And they're trying to create emotions of sadness in you or pity, and they continue to create these kinds of scenarios and these belief systems that they are just completely helpless and that they're incapable of providing for themselves. Also deflecting blame on others. Okay, so now let's talk about what happens energetically with emotional vampires. Number one thing is the draining of the life force. Okay, a lot of us will be ill after dealing with someone that is an energetic vampire. They consistently stay in low states of emotion. So again, even though they might have a smile on the face, the quality of the conversation is always about pity or sadness or terrible emotions or incredibly dramatic experiences. And they create these kinds of low emotions or dump on you these emotions, thoughts, programs about their experiences. And then the other side of that is that they play the victim in these experiences. So in what's happening in that moment is a manipulation of your energetic field, because as soon as they create these scenarios energetically, here's the catch, and this is how we end up being tied and connected and drained, is that as soon as they begin to speak and create these emotions, the moment that we judge what they're doing is actually the energetic hook that creates the drainage of life force from the other person. So this is where, we're talking about neutrality. We're talking about how to own our own space. The moment that we begin to judge what is occurring, what they're doing, that is the energetic hook. That is the energetic connection cord that we are creating to the other. And these cords, because most of the time we're unaware, we're not in a state of observation, we are in a state of reaction, very easily occur in very quick conversations that we're not in the present moment. So being in the present moment is actually the most important when we're looking at these kinds of exchanges. Understanding what you're doing with your awareness. Is your awareness playing into that emotional feeding without unconsciously checking in with what belongs to you? And another way that energy can be siphoned by an emotional vampire is we have certain vortices in the physical body. Okay, so of course we have the main chakra system in the body, but we also have vortices in the palms of the hands and the wrists. All of the terminations of energetic meridians in the bodies are ways that our energy can be siphoned or depleted from people that know how to manipulate energy. So something very common that I hear is that, you go to a meeting and somebody shakes your hand, and oftentimes they, pull from the center of your palm, and this is a way to drain your life force. Or they can grasp the top and the bottom of your hand and or the wrist and siphon life force. Now, some people that practice, dark arts and dark energies can siphon your life force in this way if you are not owning your energetic space. We also lose energy from the base of our feet. We also lose energy from the back, okay, the spine, the back of the spine. So always be aware that you are completely aware of your body 360 degrees. And we also lose energy through the tongue, the tip of the tongue, and also sexual intercourse, of course. And actually, we'll talk about that some other time, but in sexual intercourse, it's actually the most vulnerable state of where union between two people and the exchange and the imprint of the emotions that are being exchanged between two people can be dumped on, one partner that's unaware, or both partners that are unaware are going to be throwing back at each other the same low frequency emotional energy. And this is why sometimes, when two people are not in resonance or not in the same vibrational frequency, intercourse can pull them down, slow down, and block down that spiritual evolution. And then it kind of causes a friction in their ability to move forward. So, this is how we take on energetically, and it's deposited in the root sacral solar chakra, primarily in the sacral chakra, as the main center of energy cultivation for the lower creation system in the physical matrix. So this is where it begins to block, your ability to co-create, because it's that center of creation in the sacral chakra is the area in which we are bringing things to life, materializing things into the physical. So this is a very important thing to remember in exchanges, and it's important to choose your partners wisely, but more importantly than thinking about choosing the partners, to understanding how to own your space and to be aware of your emotions, your intentions, and completely present in how you're interacting in that relationship. So this brings me to learning how to own your space. And we talk about GPAC, grounding, protecting, aligning, co-creating, which is a really powerful tool that you can utilize to begin to train yourself, to own your space and train your intuition so that you can have a strong connection between mind, body, and the unification of our three-dimensional aspects of ourselves. Now, when we don't own our space and we're not aware of our energetic field, if we have tears in the body, remember that tears in the energetic field are a result of trauma, unresolved trauma, fears, and lack of mastery over your own life force. It's also unawareness of yourself. Also, not knowing yourself. If you don't know yourself, if you haven't taken time to get to know yourself, your shadows, and your light, it's going to be very easy for emotional vampires to tune in and be able to manipulate emotions. That's how they can push buttons or trigger you to feel certain ways, because sometimes they can be very perceptive. And this is where we start going into the psychological, analysis of these kinds of personalities, but everything from narcissists to people that are just completely always talking about themselves, all these levels of unconscious behaviors that are more parasitic and trying to receive rather than have the tools to have an even exchange in an interaction are going to feel draining in a way. So in order to be able to navigate these kinds of relationships, owning your space, complete awareness of yourself, your intentions of your emotional exchange, and being in the absolute present moment is the most powerful way to begin to cultivate this awareness in the physical body. So, in other words, lack of self-knowledge. What else do I want to say? So if we talk about frequency and we talk about how we end up hooked and attached to people, I'm not good with notes. I'm not very good at notes and talking to you. So let's just put that to the side. I'd much rather talk to you in this way, because what happens in the energetic exchange of this emotional exchange is that anytime that we judge what someone else is doing, we create an energetic hook that binds into their energetic body. And that judgment means that we haven't had enough study of ourselves. And the reason why is because, as I mentioned previously, all relationships are united by resonance. So if we haven't taken the time to look at our state, energetic state, emotional state, and resonance, usually we will continue to repeat these kinds of emotions and triggers. Regardless of where you're at spiritually and emotionally, the idea is that we train ourselves to come into a state of observer and neutrality in order to be able to hold your space energetically, emotionally, and physically. All of our perceptions and how we are perceiving things can be fluid and in a way that you can navigate any experience, any feeling of unknown experience in which you've never experienced before, in a more intuitive and connected and grounded way with your body. Okay, so how we can begin to change these kinds of patterns is to understand how we become parasites. How do we become vampires and victims of vampires per se? Okay, so the way that we begin to work with these belief systems that we are not enough, that we are unworthy, that we are not lovable, that we're not able to love the self, those are the belief systems that we have to begin to change within ourselves. So in today's meditation, I want to start working and addressing those parts of us because, as you know, we cannot change people outside of us, but we can definitely begin to understand how to change ourselves. And from this center of creation, this vortex of manifestation, you then become the creation of your every experience, in that your resonance that changes begins to shift in how we are interacting regardless of this experience that we're in. Okay, so let's dive into it. Go ahead and breathe, inhale and exhale. Okay, with every breath you take, go ahead and visualize grounding yourself down to the center of the earth. I want you to create an energetic field around you. You're going to tune into your energetic body. Go ahead and tune in. How far out does your energy extend around you and create a field around you? And this field is your field of awareness. Go ahead and visualize that that bubble is your ability to sense your energetic extension, your expression, your full expression. So just notice energetically how you express yourself, how far out your energy extends around you. And you're going to begin to tune in to any tears or openings in your energetic space. And within those openings in your energetic space, I want you to begin to tune into the programs and belief systems that we have embedded energetically in those spaces that keep these openings. All the beliefs of lack, of unworthiness, of not being enough, not being lovable. Go ahead and tune in to all of these belief systems that are existing in our body at this time. And I want you to scan your energetic body, your energetic space. As you tune in to the openings in your auric field, it will be very easy to kind of tune in to the thought forms that exist energetically within that space. Okay, so go ahead and go to the parts of the body that are open. Focus on the density of that area. Notice if you see any cords, any kind of images or pictures or objects in that space that block your life force. If you see cords, just notice as you tune in intuitively. Who are you connecting to? And what is it that you are looking to receive from this exchange? Just notice that. Okay. We're going to go deeper now as you begin to observe that all around you, and we're going to start working with the information that you just identified around your energetic body. I want you to now focus on the root chakra at the base of the spine. You're going to shrink it down to the size of a dime. You're going to go up to the sacral chakra. Go ahead and shrink it down to the size of a dime, front and back. You're going to go up to your solar plexus. Go ahead and shrink it down to the size of a dime. You're going to go up to your heart chakra. I want you to expand that chakra as wide as possible, opening the center of unconditional love and connection. You're going to go up to your throat chakra. Go ahead and open that chakra front and back, opening the center of communication and expression. You're going to go up to your third eye. Go ahead and visualize expanding that chakra, opening the center of intuition. You're going to go up to your crown. Go ahead and expand and activate the crown chakra. So you begin to open the center of creation and manifestation. As you begin to bring yourself connected to your body, we're going to take a journey deep into the center of our core, into the subconscious mind. I want you to begin to navigate all the fragments of yourself throughout your life as you travel all the way back into the womb. And you begin to scan your life from the womb until now, at all the parts of you that have felt lack, that have felt abandoned, incomplete, and disconnected from source. We become parasites or vampires when we abandon our own self as source, when we are disconnected from source. The most powerful way to heal the body is to reconnect to source. The most powerful psychotherapeutic healing is to connect to source. So as you see yourself and all your fragments throughout your life that have felt disconnected from source, I just want you to begin to allow them to connect. Every single one of the fragments, you're going to visualize a cord, source cord from the core of their body anchoring down to the center of the earth, and you're going to connect them back up to source. As they begin to remember, recognize themselves as the all. They begin to activate within their bodies, their vortex, to generate the ability to love, to become compassionate towards themselves and others, to give and receive in a harmonious interaction. As you begin to see all of your fragments connecting to source, you begin to see these fragments merging into one. as you begin to heal the fragmented spectrum of your own fragmentation. And within each unification of your fragmentation, you begin to heal generations of separation within your bloodline, within your ancestral lineage. As you begin to unite all these fragments, they begin to see themselves once again as the multiverse. Each and every one remembering themselves as a source of all. As they begin to reunite within their physical bodies, within the core, within their essence, you begin to notice that their energetic body, their etheric bodies, also begins to repair. The physical body now also begins to repair. Any kind of illnesses that are created as a result of these belief systems of lack and disconnect begin to heal within the body. All illnesses are a result of separation from source. As every single one of these fragments begins to integrate within them and without them, externally and internally, you see them merging into one. You're going to begin to go into the second layer, the second dimensional layer of the healing as you begin to heal your ancestors. And it's not that you are doing anything, but through your healing, you are repairing your own genetic code that begins to address ancestral karma, ancestral programming of separation. And I want you to begin to visualize your own DNA, repairing all of the strands of DNA that have become damaged over generations, that are missing, that are creating and embedding within the genetic code aspects of separation. And as you begin to visualize the reparation of this genetic code within your stream, you begin to access the Akashic layer of your highest self within this matrix. Just beginning to become aware of all of the programs in the collective field of separation that have been utilized for manipulation of the masses of humanity, now in the past. And you begin to recognize yourself as a generator, as a creator of new timelines. As you begin to tune into the collective suffering, the fear, the hopelessness, helplessness, victimization, the desperate need for unconditional love of humanity. Go ahead and visualize this frequency that only you bring through your specific genetic code, through your specific genetic signature, into the earth to heal it. Go ahead and bring down that frequency, bring down that signature that is specific to you. And begin to feel all of your fragments. Begin to pour it into this collective field as you introduce the collective to a signature of unity, to a frequency of unification. You're going to begin to see all of your fragments of the future, interdimensional aspects, star bloodlines, beginning to awaken. As you begin to see them breathing, as you begin to see yourself expanding into the higher realms. Begin to see yourself as a whole in all dimensional timelines of the past and the future. And you're going to anchor that now into the present moment as you begin to observe your everyday life, the fragments in this timeline that need to be connected, reconnected, and reminded as source. As you begin to see all of these different timelines uniting and entering into one field of source, you begin to feel your body expanding, healing, regenerating, rejuvenating. And I want you to visualize that all of your life force that has been drained and dispersed in all dimensional planes as a result of unconscious disconnect and separation is returning back to your body at this time. I want you to inhale deeply, calling back all of your fragments that we have depleted from our life force, that we have unconsciously donated in exchange for temporary emotions, sensations, false belief systems, fears. And just bringing compassion into all of these aspects of ourselves so that they might recognize themselves once again as source. Breathing deeply. As you begin to see this profound integration taking place of your body, your heart chakra is going to begin to activate and expand, front and back. You begin to feel more love in your body. You begin to feel compassion. You begin to feel completely in a state of bliss. In this state, there is no fear. There is no separation. As you begin to embody this unity, this unification of yourself internally, you begin to see the repairing of the foundation of your energetic field, of the geometry of your energetic field, and the vortex of your body beginning to spin faster, beginning to move and open the meridian runways of the body that have been stagnant by all of these belief systems for generations. And as you begin to activate your chakra, you begin to open the root, the sacral, the solar, allowing it to expand into a state of balance and harmony. Now with a new program of unity, of connection to source. As you begin to go up into the heart, you root and anchor this love into the center of the earth. And you see yourself as the earth, as one, as your body, connecting up through all dimensional layers into source. You see yourself as your past selves, future selves, and all the fragments of yourself throughout your entire life that are now integrating within you. As you inhale deeply and take back your integration, anchoring it into the center of the spine, go ahead and visualize that this genetic code that makes up your hologram is now integrating newly into the spine, into the cortex, into the amygdala, into the pineal gland. As you begin to heal the multidimensional body, begin to see all of the layers of your body, 1 through 13, becoming whole again. Breathing deeply. You're going to go up into your heart, into your throat, into the third eye as you begin to activate your intuition, feeling trust now for the body. As you begin to build trust for yourself and others, but primarily in yourself. Going up into the 8th chakra, activating the 8th, activating the 9th, activating the 10th, activating the 11th. As you begin to see all of your future aspects of yourself, your interdimensional aspects, your star seed lineages begin to activate and become presence for you to access. Going up to your 12th, your 13th, and above you is a powerful white light of source. As you anchor and embody, you expand your white light all around you. As you begin to see yourself united to the earth and to the whole that is around you. Go ahead and open your eyes and come back into the room. And as you come back into the room, I want you to continue to see yourself grounded down to the center of the earth and continue to see your energetic space. So I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been an honor to work with you, and I hope that this video can help you in shifting from some of these dynamics that we may have created in our life that are imbalanced and unhealthy for us. In reality, we are all generators. Either we are creating or we're counter-creating. So this is a moment for you to choose how you wish to do that moving forward, and in presence and with consciousness, begin to understand the weight of every word that you speak, your intention, your energetic expression, and how you are interacting in all dimensional planes. They are affecting the collective. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me, and I hope you have an incredible day. I will see you tomorrow. And again, happy Father's Day to all the wonderful fathers out there that are here doing such incredible work. All my love. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Thank you.